This is great. Dan Bongino, what is he doing these days?
Fox News hits, basically.
Oh, does he do Fox? Does he have his own show, or does he not have his own show?
Oh, I don't think he has his own show, no.
No, not anymore? Ever since the NRA stuff? That's too bad.
Nobody wanted to pick that up, I guess.
That's a real shame. But here he is. They're bringing on... there was a fencer, guy who fences, a gold medalist, I guess, in the Pan American Games, who took the knee during the playing of the national anthem. Good for him. And apparently this guy, I guess he was interviewed later, he knelt to protest racism, gun control, and mistreatment of immigrants and President Trump.
There was another guy, too, named, it looks like Gwen Berry, who was a hammer thrower who raised his fist.
Good.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, here's Dan Bongino, who's really offended by this on Fox and Friends.
Yeah. Griff, I saw that story, and I'm really tired of these people, and I think a lot of America is too. We share nothing in common with them. Number one, it's all about their own self-promotion. It's rarely about them engaging in any kind of a positive way to change things for the better. Kneeling is a sign of...
Pause it for 1 second. We have heard Dan Bongino really, really go out there and praise people for positively trying to change things in this country.
Big Reverend Barber fan.
Right, exactly, yeah. I really, I was going to take some time from praising Reverend Barber and, my work in trying to reestablish Acorn, which really represented a lot of underprivileged people, to just say, hey, guy, come on.
Come on, Kaepernick.
Right.
Kneeling is a sign of disrespect to our flag, which many of the patriotic Americans who watch this network know shuts the argument down right away. So whatever you're trying to argue for, what did Kaepernick say? Social justice, and I believe his this kneeler at the Pan American Games, I believe his thing was he was protesting some systemic racism. Those are all horrible things. We should all be trying to combat these things. But you shut the conversation down immediately when you disrespect our flag.
Pause it for 1 second. I hope people understand and appreciate the irony of the fact that that's probably the first time I've ever heard a clip of Fox News where someone said, racism is bad. We want social justice, right? Guess what, Dan? It
looks like he successfully started a conversation.
Still going. But let's go back a little bit. I don't even think he realizes, oh my gosh, I'm defeating my own point.
I'm doing what he wants me to do.
Right. Dan Bongino is really a conversation ender. Roll the tape. Let's listen to more Dan Bongino.
This kneeler at the Pan American Games, I believe his thing was he was protesting some systemic racism. Those are all horrible things.
Yeah.
We should all be trying to combat these things. But you shut the conversation down immediately when you disrespect our flag. People have come home in boxes for this, to support this. And it reminds me, again, one more thing here, that we share almost nothing in common anymore with liberals. This was once a common space sports where Americans could go for a refuge from the back and forth and the friction of politics. And liberals have to destroy, because they're a forest fire, every single thing they touch. And they've now destroyed this too. By the way, the guy was representing the United States. Get up and put your hand over your heart and then give a speech later about how you want to protest racism. That's great. We'll all be with you for that. But you don't do it this way.
Wow. First off, I don't know if this is the first time that Fox has ever even acknowledged that systemic racism exists. And Dan Bongino is saying that he's going to be giving speech. Is that right? Is Dan Bongino... how many episodes do you think of his NRA TV covered systemic racism in this country?
I will bet 0.
He's going to start now, right now.
Remember the conversation we had with Tom Skoka about ventriloquism on Friday? This part, I think, rings back to
Back to our flag, which many of the patriotic Americans who watch this network know, shuts the argument down right away.
Right, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And the fact that the flag sends people home in boxes maybe isn't a great argument for it.
Well, that was also weird. I think he was saying that
Flailing.
they have the right to go and participate in sports, and that's why guys get sent home in boxes. which
It's like they go and sacrifice themselves for free speech apparently, and this is how you're using your speech to like kneel during the national anthem. It shuts down the conversation, Sam.
it shuts down the conversation to exercise the rights of free speech. Or I don't know if he's saying like, did the other teams that were there, did they all have to send home people in boxes too to go play? Like, I mean, if it's really Pan American games, did they all need to like? You don't get into those games unless you've sent a certain number of people into war and they've died.
The truth is, it was just a spasm of like sort of patriotism, whatever it means in Dan Bongino's head. So let's just mention soldiers coming home in boxes,
right?
And then we win the argument.
That's what
we're the
patriotism.
Patriots. Yeah.
Right. You know what they're pissed about? That mentioning people coming home in boxes does not shut down the conversation anymore. That's what they're mad about.
Exactly. It's still so weird to hear them say, like, lead with that when they're talking about why we should uphold this country.
Right. They're just pissed because it doesn't work, because it doesn't make any sense. Here's an idea. Let's see if we don't send home our men and women in the military, if we don't send them home in boxes, if we still get to go play in the Pan American Games. We could test that premise right there.